Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're tackling a piece of relational psychology that is honestly absolutely fascinating. And more importantly, it's vital to understand. We're going to break down a concept that operates completely under the radar for most of us: subtle isolation. Getting a grip on the underlying architecture of this behavior is literally the very first step to actually spotting it out there in the real world. So let's unravel exactly how someone's support system is quietly and methodically dismantled. Okay, let's dive into this. When I ask you to picture relationship isolation, what immediately pops into your head? For most of us, we naturally imagine something loud. We picture slammed doors, aggressive arguments, these demanding ultimatums, or highly visible control tactics. We kind of think of like a movie villain locking someone away from the outside world. But the actual research points us in a totally different, much more hidden direction. Yeah, we really need to debunk that whole Hollywood myth. Obvious isolation is that cartoonish, aggressive demand. Don't see them. It's an outright ban on your friends or family. It's super visible, and frankly, it's pretty easy to spot as a massive red flag. But the reality? The reality is way quieter. Subtle isolation is defined as cutting your support system quietly. It's not this sudden, violent severing of ties. Actually, it's a slow, almost imperceptible unwinding of the ropes that hold you to your community. This distinction is absolutely crucial because it shifts our focus away from those obvious ultimatums and right into the quiet reality of how isolation actually happens day to day. Which brings us to our first key section: weaponized words and quiet drama. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the precise phrasing used here: your friends don't understand us. What is that sentence actually doing in a conversation? On the surface, it sounds strangely supportive, right? Like it's prioritizing this unique, special bond of the relationship. But in reality, it's actively creating an us versus them dynamic. It subtly positions your friends, the people you've literally trusted for years, as outsiders who simply lack the capacity to grasp how special your connection is. It's a tiny, quiet seed of doubt planted right in the middle of your social circle, perfectly designed to make you question the value of those outside friendships. And this tactic gets even more insidious when it targets your family. Your family's toxic. Think about why this works so incredibly well. It takes very valid modern therapy concepts, words like toxic, boundaries, mental health, and it completely weaponizes them. By labeling your family as the core problem, the manipulator cleverly frames their isolation tactic as a protective measure. They're using your own healthy desire for a peaceful environment to wedge a barrier between you and your closest, oldest ties. It's literally isolation disguised as self-care. The ultimate goal of those phrases we just looked at isn't just to vent or, to casually complain. The objective is to actively create drama and friction with the people closest to you. If there's constant tension every single time you see your family, or this endless analyzing every time you hang out with your friends, you're going to get exhausted. And when you're emotionally exhausted by all this manufactured drama, retreating back into the isolation of the relationship, well, that starts to feel like a relief. That friction is entirely by design. Let's move on to our next section: the echo chamber effect. You see, this behavior builds in 3 highly predictable steps. Let's walk through this slow progression. Step 1 is creating drama. We just talked about how they manufacture that friction with your inner circle, which leads inevitably right into step 2: you talk to fewer people. It's just human nature to avoid constant conflict, so you slowly, quietly pull back. You stop returning texts as quickly, you skip the group dinners, maybe you visit your family a little less often. And that reduction in social contact creates a vacuum. That brings us to the final phase. Step 3, their voice becomes the loudest and eventually the only influence in your life. Step 1 perfectly engineers step 2, which completely empties the room for step 3. All right, moving into our final section: the mathematical reality of control. And this brilliantly illustrates what we can view as basically an undeniable law of physics. Isolation is a control multiplier. It's not just a sad, accidental side effect of an insecure partner, it's the active, mathematical engine of control. Think about it logically for a second. If someone wants to control your reality, they cannot do it effectively if you have 5 other independent, healthy voices in your life giving you objective advice. But if they remove those voices, their control doesn't just add up, it multiplies exponentially. The less support you have, the more power they hold. This leaves us with a powerful, stark warning. The ultimate red flag is when your world slowly shrinks around them. I want you to truly visualize what that feels like. Imagine your social world as this giant, expansive map, filled with diverse cities of friends, family, and colleagues. Now imagine the edges of that map burning away, slowly retreating inward, month by month, year by year. Eventually, the entire map shrinks down to the size of just one single person. That suffocating, shrinking feeling, that is the ultimate red flag that subtle isolation is taking place. So, take a moment to reflect on your own relationships right now, or perhaps the relationships of those you care about. Is your world slowly shrinking around them? Are the voices around you multiplying and enriching your life? Or are they quietly disappearing? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer today. Keep asking questions, keep looking for the structure behind the behavior, and I really hope this leaves you eager to explore the mechanics of human connection even further.